Welcome to the realm of astrology. This is your daily horoscope for June 28th, 2021, which is a Monday. But before we begin, I would like to let you know that I do daily video horoscopes that I post on my YouTube channel. I do weekly video horoscopes that I post on my YouTube channel as well. And I also do monthly horoscopes and monthly sun rising sign horoscopes that you can watch on my YouTube channel as well. I also request you to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so that you can be notified every time I post a video. Okay, so let's begin with Monday. What's happening today? So the moon at about noon Pacific time, and that makes it midnight India time, is going to change signs. It's going to leave Aquarius and enter Pisces, as you can see on the chart. And over the weekend, the moon was in Aquarius, and when the moon was in Aquarius, we did feel slightly stressed out. We were asked to define things, take decisions, and you can watch my weekend horoscope video if you want to know more. But that was the energy, and it might have felt a little stressful. And it was also a weekend where we did very actively build the new life that we're building. And we might have moved a step ahead in some way, shape, or form in that life, which we do every month. So this one step forward is, I don't want to say small, but it's a step. It's not the destination, if that makes sense. Okay, moving on. So the moon is in Pisces, and the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. And when it does, the focus of our life, the energy in our life shifts in subtle ways. For the past 2.5 days, when the moon was in Aquarius, we were focused on building for the future. We were focused on our hopes, goals, and dreams. We were focused on finding a uniqueness, and it felt a bit stressful because Saturn right now is in Aquarius. And now the moon is in Pisces. The moon really loves to be in Pisces because Pisces is the sign that goes with the flow, and the moon is our emotions. And emotions do like to go with the flow. So the next 2.5 days, we will be going with the flow more. We'll be focused on spirituality, connecting with the higher realms, maybe meditating, that sort of energy. And at about, the moon's going to move on and it's going to conjunct Jupiter retrograde. So let's see that on the chart. Let me move the chart ahead. And this happens at about 3 p.m. Pacific time. That makes it 3 a.m. India time at night, which is technically June 29th for India. So right here, the moon and Jupiter have conjuncted, Jupiter retrograde. Now, Jupiter is the most benefic planet of the zodiac. It gives gifts, it brings blessings, it heals also, and it also brings with it lessons. However, when Jupiter is retrograde, we've either learned those lessons or we haven't. So the lessons sort of ease off, and now it's about gifts, it's about healing, it's about the rewards that we receive for the work that we put in when Jupiter was direct. So moon conjunct Jupiter retrograde is a very optimistic, happy, hopeful moment for our emotions. And this is connected to something that happened in the past. Not the very distant past, but the very recent past. Because Jupiter went retrograde on June 20th. And it's just been, 8 days? So it hasn't covered much ground. So I would say maybe something starting June 10th onwards, approx, give or take, that we are feeling very good about, happy about, optimistic about, hopeful about. It could also be some sort of knowledge or piece of wisdom that we receive that is connected to our emotion. Because knowledge and wisdom is not always related to subjects or abstract things. It could very well be wisdom about the self, wisdom about our emotions, and that could be happening at this point as well. But overall, Jupiter retrograde conjunct the moon is a positive, feel-good energy. And in the sign of Pisces, this is definitely about our emotions, about our spirituality, about our inner heart and soul. So that happens at about 3 p.m. Pacific time, 3 a.m. India time, which technically makes it June 29th for India. And then moving on, this happens at about 11 p.m. So let me move up the chart and Yeah, so there. At about 11 p.m. Pacific time, which makes it 12 p.m. India time, June 29th, the moon is going to trine the sun. All right. Now, this is the first time the moon is trining the sun after the um, sorry, it's not the first time. This is the closing out cycle beginning to the new moon. We have a new moon in Cancer. The sun right here is in Cancer, and the moon's going to move all this distance and conjunct the sun on July 9th. All right, and now we are at the waning period of that cycle, closing out that cycle, so to speak. And the sun trine the moon, the sun is our consciousness, it's our identity, it's our emotions, and the moon is our emotional body, it's our heart and soul, it's our moods, it's us, it's our intuition. All these things are working in sync. Our soul is in sync with our emotions, our consciousness in sync with our inner heart and soul, our identity is also in sync with our emotions, our emotional body, our intuition. Everything's working together at this point, and it is connected to our emotions. It is connected to our deepest emotions, because the sun is in Cancer, our deepest emotions. And the moon in Pisces is very spiritual, is very sensitive. So there's a sort of syncing of our identity and consciousness with our emotional body. And there's a spiritual element to all this. And this is extremely positive because Jupiter is with the moon. They are technically conjunct right now. 5-degree orbs are technically conjunct. So this feel-good energy is also with the involving our identity, the sun, involving our consciousness, the sun. Yeah. So that's what is happening for the day. However, we are building up to some things. Let me talk about those. We're building up to the Mars Saturn opposition, 180-degree angle between these two planets. I believe it happens on July 1st. So we are maybe 2 days away from that happening, 2 to 3 days. So we might be feeling the intensity of this energy. And let's talk about this energy because you might be feeling it. Mars is our drive, it's our willpower, it's our courage, it's how we take action. It's taking action. Okay, it's our initiative. And Saturn is the planet of delays, hard work, discipline, decisions, defining things. And at this moment, when they oppose like this, as always, it can be a positive manifestation or a negative manifestation. Now that's entirely circumstantial, I cannot say for certain. So Saturn opposed Mars is an energy where you either define how you're going to take that action. You take a decision to take action. You integrate these two elements, taking decisions, taking action and decision. So you decide to take that action. You define what action you're going to take. Or you work hard towards your courage. You work hard towards your discipline. That could be one element of this. On the other hand, this could be a very frustrating moment as well, because Mars is anger, Mars is frustration, and Saturn can be restrictions as well. So if we are restricted in our drive to take that action, if we are restricted in our ability to take that action, frustration can build up. But maybe we want to take a step back and ask ourselves, why are we being restricted to take that action? Perhaps we may need to review that decision to take that action and work on that decision. Perhaps we need to define that action a little bit better before we are allowed to take it. So if you are feeling frustrated, if you are feeling angry, this is the energy that might be causing it. And Mars is an athlete. One way to channel that energy is through sports and working out and just channeling that frustration into something positive. Another way is to take a step back and ask yourself, what do I need to define? What decision do I need to take that will help me take that action, that will help me move forward? So this energy you might be feeling it now. That's what I'm telling you. It comes exact on July 1st. And this is not all that's happening with this energy. A lot is happening. This Mars is in a trine to the south node. All right, it's in a sextile to the north node. So whatever this action is, this definition is towards our goals, is towards the long term. And with this action, with this decision, the past will become more and more distant, because it's trining the south node, the past, what we're leaving behind. At the same time, this energy is in a square to Uranus. Both these planets are in a square to Uranus, which means this decision, this action, this definition needs to come from a place of the authentic you, of who you truly are. And this may feel difficult because they're in a square, and also it can be quite sudden and unexpected. You might just say, okay, that's it, I decide. I've taken a decision. This is how it's going to be. I'm going to do it this way. I don't care what the world says. I don't care what anybody thinks. This is who I am. I want to be a painter, just for example. I'm going to go ahead and make my first painting. I'm going to put it up online. I don't care if anybody likes it or not. This is that energy where you finally start to take a decision to maybe come into your own. And since Mars will be trining Chiron, like I said, there are lots of aspects to this. It will be a healing to our identity when we do this. And Saturn is supporting Chiron as well. It's helping us decide. It's helping us heal our identity. So there's a lot. And this healing, this identity that we're healing is going to support our goals because it's in a sextile to the north node. So there's a lot happening on this chart. So this is not one simple thing. It's a very complex energy. And to make matters more complicated, let me tell you. So Saturn and Mars, Saturn is here, Mars is here. You see they're opposing right now. But at one point, they must have conjuncted, they must have met up, right? Which means Saturn and Mars must have been together at some point. And this was the case on March 30th, 31st, 2020. So over a year ago, which means that this cycle of all this that is happening on July 1st, which we are building into now, seeded itself on March 30th, 31st, 2020. And now we're halfway through, because Mars has moved halfway across the circle. We are halfway through that cycle. We're in an opposition, and then the energy will start declining as they close out and Mars meets up Saturn once again. So we are at the peak of this energy. We're at the peak, and now we are meant to take that decision, take that action. And this action can be sudden with a square to Uranus. It requires you to be your unique self. It has a healing element to your identity. It is in sync with our goals, and in taking this action, the past will become more and more distant. We'll talk about it till this happens, till July 1st, but I just thought I'd mention what's happening. And let's not forget that this also means there's a grand trine in fire with Mars, the south node, and Chiron. They're in a grand trine. 120-degree angles, a very positive aspect. And like I said, taking that action will heal our identity, Mars trine Chiron, which will make it more and more difficult to relate to the past, make it easier to move towards the future. And trine in fire means action. Fire is about action. This is where we can get things done. And the trine's on even today. It's on today. It's going to come. It's on today. Yeah. So we have that fire. We have that in us to take that decision, to make that change, to heal our identity, all that stuff. So that's all that's happening today. Oh, and one more thing. Sorry. Venus did enter the sign of Leo yesterday, June 27th, and this is a shift in how we approach all Venus-related things: love, money, relationships, finances, self-worth, values, skills, projects, legal issues. All Venus-related things will be approached with a sense of fun, with a sense of lightness, with a sense of, is this what my heart desires? Yes, if it is, then I'm going to go for it. Yeah. And As Mars has built up its opposition to Saturn, we will also see Venus build up the opposition to Saturn, because Venus is going to oppose Saturn as well. We'll talk about that when it happens. But that's all for today. I will give you a brief background. And when I say background, these are the underlying energies that we feel on a day-to-day basis, slow-moving energies, energies that are so slow that we see the effects over months, years. So the first of those energies is the Saturn-Uranus square. I speak about this a lot. The square came exact on June 14th. It will come exact 3 times this year. This energy is happening after 21 years. So it's a rare event, and this will feel stressful because these planets are in a 90-degree angle, which means friction, which means change, which means challenge. So what this boils down to is getting rid of old things, old thought patterns, old ways of living, being, thinking, old anything that does not serve you anymore, and embracing the new. And the key to navigate this energy is by being your authentic self, embracing your authentic self, because Uranus is your authentic self. It wants you to be you. That's the first thing. And this is after 21 years, so it's a rare thing to feel. The second thing is the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. These planets conjuncted in Jan of 2020, and these planets met up after 38 years. So they closed out a cycle in Jan of 2020 that started in 1982. And since Jan of 2020, our material reality has shifted in considerable ways, and perhaps most likely it's because of this conjunction, because they met up in Capricorn. Capricorn is our material reality, and what do Saturn and Pluto do? They transform our material reality when they meet up, which is what they did in Jan of 2020. And on June 24th, with the full moon in Capricorn, we must have had a deeper understanding of what conspired in Jan of 2020. And this cycle will stay with us till 2053. And we are still building on it. We will continue to build on this. And the third thing I want to mention, I'll just mention one more thing after this, I promise, is the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. These planets met up in December of 2020, and these planets also meet up rarely, once in 20 years, and astrologers call this the Great Conjunction. It's used to define an era of 20 years. What is that era going to be like? So that happened in December of 2020, and we started a new cycle. And in the next 2 years, we are going to lay the foundation for the next 20 years. And so right now, with so many two new cycles happening, Saturn-Pluto, Saturn-Jupiter, with the Saturn-Uranus square on, we are going to be building, we are going to be changing, we are going to lay the foundation in the next 2 years. We're just beginning the journey. So we have a long way to go. And the last thing I will mention are the nodes. The North Node right here is in Gemini. The South Node is in Sagittarius. They were in the same placement between 2001 and 2003, and the nodes are karmic. So if there is some karmic stuff that is needed to come back into your life from 2001 and 2003, it will. And the purpose of that is so that you can review it, resolve it, close it out, or build on it and take it further. So that's all the background, and now I will pick a card for the day, and let's see what we get. Okay. Plenty of cards. Shall we? Okay. There are 5 cards. So it says not for you, to the sea, treasure island, chaos and conflict, happy, happy. It's a lot of cards today. So perhaps not for you, and I think this boils down to the Saturn-Mars opposition building, which is perhaps maybe you need to take a decision, a definition, so that you can heal your identity. And very well, maybe it's about getting rid of things that don't serve you. And this could very well be the Saturn-Uranus square that I spoke about, which is happening in the background, which will happen all year, the 21 year, which is happening after 21 years. What is not for you? What is not serving you anymore? Think about that. Think about that today. So that's the first thing. to the sea. Perhaps this is again to the sea. She's a little lost, right? Perhaps it's about finding that direction, finding that different definition, making that decision so that you can find your way. Again, I think it's the Mars-Saturn opposition. It could very well be the Saturn-Uranus square as well. And the moon is in Pisces. What is Pisces? Pisces is the sea. It's the ocean. And perhaps we will find that path, we will find that direction. And I think this says, this is also a card of the sea, Pisces, right? Once we make that decision, perhaps we will find our treasure island. That might just be the pleasure of being one's true self. I don't know. But there's something positive in this decision, and that makes sense because Mars is trining Chiron. There is a healing to our identity. This could very well be that healing. Chaos and conflict. But to get to that, I think we'll have to go through some chaos and conflict, some back and forth, some decision making, because Pisces is, it's the ocean, right? There's so much. And Saturn decisions with an opposition, there's always a back and forth. It does not come easily. It does not come naturally, the decision, the definition. It will come with a little bit of stress. Perhaps that's the chaos and conflict. And happy. There is a happy element to this. There is a positive element to this. But perhaps we do need to say no to something, be our authentic selves, find direction. Once we find direction, there is a treasure island. There is a positive moment there. And this will require some chaos and conflict. It will require us to maybe go back and forth a little bit. And towards the end, the ending is a happy one. It's a positive one. So that's all I'll say for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. If you did, do hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. And I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.